What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Everybody that is out there listening, y'all know what time it is. It is Friday, March 19th, 2021, and it is live stream day. One of my favorite days of the week. Not only because it's Friday, but because I get to talk to you all in real time for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Make sure that when you come on in, that you hit that like button. If you have various social media accounts, make sure that you go ahead and share the stream so more and more people can come and witness what I have to talk about today. If you have not done so already, if you see that number that's scrolling at the bottom of the screen, make sure that you text it so you can become a part of the community and receive notifications every time I go live or upload a new video. So let's see, who do we have here so far in the chat? Darlene 007 Spidey 2, Patrina Jamarius Jamal. What's going on? Going to wait for a few more people to get in. And before we get started, probably get started around 4:10. That way, hopefully, more people will be here. I know that the subscribers are steady going up on this channel, which is a good thing. Even not only use this channel once a week, it is what it is. Let's see who we have here. Nika Nostalgia, Isaiah, Letitia, what's going on? Glad you are all here today. This is a very good week for me. You know, I'm glad spring is on its way in because I'm so over this cold. It was so good last week. Weather last week was so good. Then it had to turn around and get cold again. But I think it's going to be nice all next week. Finally, some consistency. What's going on, Wayne Tillman? We have quite a bit of stuff to talk about today, and I'm sure some topics that is in the lineup, especially one in particular that y'all couldn't wait for me to talk about. I don't have to say which one. I already know what it is. What's going on, Mark Stewart? Amar said, what's up? What's my Cash App? My Cash App is $ Torian Rain. I need to put that into the banner. But I just put it in the chat. What's oh so gorgeous? Oh, let's see. Vulcan, what's up? Pinky JYB, what's going on? Jamal said, my birthday is tomorrow. Well, happy early birthday. 007 Space said the Aries went through a lot last year as far as, yeah, because they got hit over their head with that pandemic. Ironically, my dad's birthday is on Sunday. So this time last year, he couldn't do anything. So he's definitely most likely going to make up for it this year. Shoot, my birthday is in May and I couldn't do anything last year. Like I had went grocery shopping for the first time, like around my birthday. Mark Stewart said, please chat about Mammy Seal's rant. I kind of already touched on it in a pre-recorded video, which will be up soon. I know which rant you're talking about, and I think she's a hypocrite for even going on that rant, but that's going to be in a separate video that I actually recorded today, but it probably won't get uploaded for like another couple days. What's going on, Jordan? Wayne said, I want a cage fight between Cardi B and Candace Owens until one of them choke. 007 Spice said, my birthday is next Saturday. Cool. Isaiah, you said your birthday's on the 21st of May. Oh, you just missed the Taurus line. What's going on, Joseph Washington? How was y'all week? Like, how was everybody else's week? Did y'all have a good week? Did y'all get anything done? Anything accomplished? And this channel's subscriber count is currently at, I think, 1,530 something, because they don't put out the entire subscriber count like they used to on the screen. So they do like 1.53 or whatever. Good afternoon, Tina. Falcon said, Cardi B would be, yeah, that would be an easy win for Cardi B if her and Candace Owens got into a fight. That's an easy dub for her. Darlene said you had a good week and got things done. Well, that's a good thing. Penny said you had a busy week and getting ready to leave work now. About to leave that plantation. Jamarshi said my week was okay as yesterday I had to watch out for a storm. I live in the South. Well, I'm glad that you are okay. Storms are no fun, especially if you lose power. What's going on, Tina Ferguson? Passion Black said, you didn't miss anything. I just started. I usually let these first 10 minutes fly by a little bit to let people come in, and then around 4:10 I get started. I just do like a little small talk with the people before I go into these topics. What's going on, Tawana? Again, if y'all have not done so already, make sure that y'all hit that like button. You said, did I get your DM on Instagram on Stick Up Kids? No, I didn't see that. Nah, 007 Spidey 2. No, the last regular stream. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. I got it mixed up. See, you got it. You were on point. Because I was like, wait a minute, the last regular stream, I said the lap will be the 26th, and then I realized that next Friday is the last Friday in the month, which of course then y'all know is my freestyle Friday. So yeah, you're right about that. I like doing the freestyle Fridays because that means I don't have to look for topics to talk about for that day. I just talk about whatever. But yeah, you are correct. This is the last regular stream for the month of March. What's going on, Quincy? Give it about 2 more minutes, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Vulcan said my week was okay. It was raining the first few days of the week, then a tornado almost came through. Well, thank God that tornado didn't come. And I live in a place where tornadoes are scarce, but if they do hit, they mostly hit in La Plata, which is in Charles County, Maryland. Mark said, did everybody get that stimulus check? I look on the IRS website and it says it tells me that I'm not qualified for it. Now, I didn't have it set for direct deposit, so maybe they're saying that because mine has to come in the mail. And speaking of STEMI, y'all see the IRS extended the date back, right? So instead of taxes being due on the 15th of April, they're now due on the 15th of May. I said, I bet you they did that because of that stimulus. Because not everybody has direct deposit for the stimulus check. At least I know I don't. Because I know when I had got the one last year, it was definitely mailed to me. What's going on, talking and grubbing medium? Jordan, you said you didn't get anything. Well, I'm not going to front on. If I get one, I get one. If I don't, I don't. It is what it is. I'm not sweating over it. Got about 1 more minute and we will be getting started. What's up, K-Bar? Okay, it is officially 4:10. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I don't think I have anything to show today that has any audio attached to it, but we'll see. So the first topic we're going to be talking about today is one that caught me by complete surprise, to the point where when I heard about it, I thought it was fake until I learned that it was indeed true after so many reports came through. And that is Kanye West officially becoming the richest Black American, man or woman. They said he now has a net worth well worth over $6 billion. When I heard about that the other day, I said, how true is this? Because that completely came out of left field. I said, how true is this? So I decided to just go ahead and look it up, and I saw so many articles talking about it. I was like, wow, I guess it is indeed true. And then when I typed Kanye West net worth into the search bar, sure enough, next to his name, it says $6.6 billion to be exact. So it is indeed true. Kanye West is officially the richest Black American. I think he might be. I want to say he might be actually the second, because I think Robert F. Smith still holds the title of the richest Black American, because I think his is a little over 7 billion. So he might be second, but they keep pushing that he's the richest Black American. But I think he might be the second, but it doesn't really matter, because $6.6 billion is nothing to just roll your eyes at. And to everyone saying Kim will get half, they signed a prenup. She gets nothing. She doesn't get any of his money, and he doesn't get anything of hers. He actually followed what his song said in Gold Digger. When we want prenup, there was a prenup that was signed. So Kim Kardashian gets nothing. He has all of his money. A lot of people kept saying that Kim Kardashian was going to get half. She is entitled to none of it. So he doesn't get anything of hers, and she doesn't get anything of his. All of that is his. So let me see what it is. Let's find out what sent Kanye West over the edge and made him the richest Black American. Well, I want to say second richest, because I truly believe that Robert S. Smith still holds that title. But I think they prop him up like that because Kanye West is a public figure. Not saying that Robert S. Smith isn't a public figure. He's really not, but he did make his presence be known in the last couple of years. So it says rapper / fashion designer Kanye West is now the wealthiest Black American. I want to say second Black American ever, according to an estimate from Bloomberg News that places his net worth at well beyond $6 billion. That figure includes West's Yeezy clothing and shoe deal with Adidas and Gap, which he just signed, by the way. He just signed that Gap deal, I think, sometime this month. So that Gap deal was very recent. And I want to think that Gap deal has something to do with it. It says UBS valued at $3.2 billion to $4.7 billion. Bloomberg also estimated that West has a $122 million in cash or stock, along with $110 million music catalog and $1.7 billion in other investments. Sales of Yeezys Adidas sneakers grew 31% during the pandemic to annual revenue of nearly $1.7 billion last year, netting West $191 million in royalties, according to Bloomberg. I have to say, that's impressive. West's status as a billionaire is a far cry from where the Chicago-born college dropout found himself 5 years ago. West, age 43, told BET News that he was $53 million in debt in 2016. About $16 million of that came from trying to get Yeezy up and running. His fortune finally turned after Yeezy launched. Forbes reported that West negotiated an 11% royalty on his Adidas, Yeezy shoes. He eventually generated $150 million in income during Yeezy's first 12 months of existence, according to Forbes. West signed a 10-year deal with Gap for Yeezy clothes and shoes. As Yeezy continued to gain steam, its success caught the attention of West's then wife, Kim Kardashian. Kardashian tweeted about how proud she was of West turning around his fortune. Forbes declared West a billionaire last April, listing his net worth at $1.3 billion. West joins a small crowd of black U.S. billionaires, a list that includes filmmaker Tyler Perry, rapper turned entrepreneur Jay-Z, real name Sean Carter, Charlotte Hornets owner and basketball legend Michael Jordan, and Oprah, the Miami Supreme wig free. In his latest estimates, Forbes placed Wig-Free's net worth at $2.5 billion, former Goldman Sachs executive Robert Smith at $5.2 billion, and worldwide technology founder David Stewart is worth an estimated $3.7. Oh, so he did surpass Robert Smith, according to this. So he did surpass him. So I take that back. He is now the richest or wealthiest black American. There it is right there. Tina Ferguson, he ain't that crazy after all. Apparently, he's not. Now that's what you call moving in silence. Because I didn't know he had all this going on. And maybe it's a good thing that I did. Maybe it's a good thing we didn't know. I can't even knock it. And I have to say it again for those who came late to the chat. Kim gets nothing because they signed a prenup. She gets nothing of his, and he gets nothing of hers. They basically are parting ways with all of their fortune going with each other, with all of their fortune that they've gained on their own with each other. Like I said, I say Kanye West might have some issues, but I guess when it comes to finances, he ain't got no issue there, clearly. You're right about that, Rob. I mean, when I say quiet or silent, he wasn't making noise or he wasn't very boisterous about his investments. He was just loud and talking about a lot of other stuff that we just deemed him to have gone a little cuckoo over. But he wasn't really out there talking about all of this, which I just read. That's why for a lot of us, it caught us by surprise. I didn't even know that he hit billionaire status last year from his shoes. Like all of this, what I just read is new to me. Talking Grevin said the only thing left for Kim and Kanye to talk about is the custody of the kids. I think they're probably going to do joint custody. I think they're going to do joint custody. One thing I can say is that when it came to their relationship, I've never heard, and I could be wrong, I've never heard either one of them put each other on blast in the media like that. At least from my standpoint. But like I said, I'm not all in their relationship to really know or really care. And I'm glad you said that, Stephanie, because when I saw this post on Instagram, that's why I first learned about it. You had these palm-colored trolls in the comment section. I think it was on Complex's page talking about that's too much money. If you don't get the hell out of this man's pockets, I hope he donates it somewhere. And if he does, it ain't getting it, it's not coming to you. And see, as black people, that's what we're gonna have to deal with when we get our shit. When we get our tangibles, you already know they coming. Them vultures is coming. I said nobody gets pocket watched more than black people, especially black men in this establishment. But shout out to Kanye West on his latest feat. This done sent him into yet another tax bracket. Like, he at this point is at elite status. But let me go ahead now and get to the next part of the stream, which I'm also very proud to report. So as y'all know, I talked last week talking about how I was going to do weekly updates with the Derek Chauvin trial. And I have two updates to bring. At first, I thought I only had one. But today I have two, because one of the second one actually came out today. Now, the first update is that two of the jurors for the Derek Chauvin trial actually got removed from the trial. I can't pinpoint the reason as to why they got removed, but they did get removed. But the newest update that just came out today, if you can see on your screen, it says Derek Chauvin trial judge denies motions for delay and change of venue. So the trial will not only not be getting delayed, but it will also not be moving, which means the trial is going to continue forward and is going to stay in Minneapolis. Because you know they always like to move the trial to another area in hopes that they can get a better outcome of the trial and whatnot. I don't know why. It's not like everyone in this world did not see what happened. I don't think there's really anywhere that they could go with this trial and think they're going to get a different outcome than the one that should happen, the one that should come. So the trial will be staying in Minneapolis, and they are not going to delay the trial. And it's also saying right here will allow, what is this? Will allow evidence from the 2019. Hold on, what is this? These damn ads. Now look at this. I don't think there's any place in the state of Minnesota that has not been subjected to extreme amounts of publicity in this case. That could be said about anywhere. It says also only one more juror is needed, and then they can go forward. Because remember, like I said, they had to kick two off. So and he looks so pitiful in that sketch drawing. So far, so good. Let's not get our hopes up yet. The trial is still in its infancy stages. We still have many more weeks to go. But the fact that they thought that they could move this trial and it be a different outcome somewhere else, like, did they not realize that everyone around the world saw this? But I've noticed lately is that a lot of the people who are on these trials, like this Derek Chauvin, who keep trying to get them moved, have struck up or struck out of trying to get it moved to a different location lately. Marie says the whole world is watching this trial. They need to get to the right result. I highly agree, because they already know what'll happen if they don't. They saw what happened last year. If they don't want a repeat of last year on steroids, they know what needs to be done. I wouldn't be surprised if they just give him a lengthy sentence just on the strength of not wanting a repeat of last year. Not saying that that's what they should go off of, because he should definitely do all the time in the world for the crime he did or the crimes he committed. And let's not forget, he's not even completely off the hook, because after this trial is done, he's probably going to have to go to trial again for those fraud charges with him and his ex-wife. So let him be found guilty of this, get jail time behind this, and then he can be right back in court again, most likely, for those other charges between him and his wife of fraud. Jordan Black, they said this case is all a front. They don't really want him locked up. Well, let's put it this way, Jordan. What they may not, let's just hypothetically say they don't want him locked up. Do you think they want the city to not only be on fire like last time, but do you think they want to blow a hole in the middle of Minneapolis? Because I'm telling you, that was the powder keg that happened last year. They not going to risk it. They saw how much money the taxpayers had to pay last year in damages. Then the whole world watched, and stuff is opening back up now. People will fly over and tear some shit up. Coco Hughes said, I want to know what are the charges. They got it was some low level charges. Like Derek Chauvin got the bulk, like the major charges, but they got some low level charges. If they do any time, it's not going to be nearly as much time as he should get. They probably going to get maybe a few months to like a couple of years. Because you got to think. Imagine they let this man go after the whole world just watched him kneel on this man's neck for almost 10 minutes, causing him to die from asphyxiation. And they actually let him go from that. That means nobody is safe. At that point, every cop in America is going to be on edge. Imagine combining what happened after Dr. King was assassinated, after what happened with Rodney King was beaten. Imagine combining all the trauma that Black people had to witness over the years, rolled into one if this man was to walk. Civil unrest would be an understatement. But yeah, that's the update for the Derek Chauvin trial so far. So, of course, I'll be back again next week to see what else they're going to be talking about. So let's now move on to the next story. What's this? Oh, God. This one right here. Some of you, I'm not sure if any of you have seen this story or not, but it came out late last week, I believe, where it says Goldman Sachs is pledging $10 billion over the course of 10 years to support the advancement of Black women. To the Black woman that is listening to this right now, don't take this the wrong way, but if y'all fall for this crap, you're stupid. When I saw this, I said, red alert, wave the flag. Something about this doesn't sound right at all. Why would a company like Goldman Sachs out of nowhere just pledge $10 billion for the next decade for the advancement of just Black women? Why not Black people? I said that right there should have had everybody looking at this with the side eye. And then you had some of these brain dead Negroes on Twitter or wherever, no, in the comment section, because I was looking at Jay Lethal do a video about this, and it was all in his comment section talking about, oh, Black men are just jealous. Oh, you're just mad because they're finally acknowledging us and everything like that. I said, look, We have no reason to be upset or jealous of this. Right, Marie, is another divide and conquer conquer tactic. We are not mad or upset at this. We are more upset and mad that many of you are falling for it. Because it's like you were going to go crazy over this $10 billion they're pledging to you, but you got to ask yourself, what type of black woman are they giving this to? Because they're not giving it to every black woman. Got to read between the lines. So let me see what they're talking about here. Goldman Sachs on Wednesday announced it's investing $10 billion over the next decade to advance racial equity and support black women. Now you got to think, this is going to give, this money right here is going to go to the black women who probably really don't contribute anything to the community. Because to give this type of money to black women, if they was to give this all to black women, they know that there's a black man somewhere or a black child somewhere that it will go into the hands of. That's not what they want. They want this to go into the hands of the black women that probably despise black people, like a coonstress, for instance. Oh, she would be the perfect candidate that fuels back their economy. The new initiative called 1 Million Black Women aims to impact 1 million black women by 2030, the bank said in a statement. It will focus on areas including healthcare, job creation, and education. This is the largest investment Goldman Sachs has ever made. And you got to ask yourself, why are they doing that? Investing in the initiative will tackle the dual disproportionate gender and racial biases that black women have faced for generations, which have only been exacerbated by the pandemic. Goldman would also set aside an additional $100 million over the next decade for philanthropic ventures focused on African American women. Rosalind Brewer, Chief Executive Officer of drugstore chain Walgreens Boots Alliance, and Lisa Jackson, Vice President of Environment Policy and Social Initiatives at Apple Inc., will sit on the advisory council on the new project. The council will also include Mark Morial, CEO of civil rights organization National Urban League and former New Orleans mayor. Reducing the earnings gap for black women could potentially create between 1.2 million and 1.7 million jobs in the United States, the company said, citing research. Again, we just have to ask, why are they doing this? They're not really saying why. They're just saying what they plan to do, but they're not saying why they're doing it. Against the backdrop of protests over the death of African-American George Floyd last year, major companies have pledged to increase diversity, donate to civil rights groups, and change their policies. Goldman created a $10 million fund last year to promote racial equity and had then said it invested around $200 million over the decade to organizations dedicated to serving communities of color. Y'all know how I dislike that terminology, people of color, because we know it does not specifically talk about black people. And if black people are included in it, we are at the tail end of its term. What Goldman Sachs is doing has the potential to materially impact the lives of black women, their families, and communities across the country, said Melanie Campbell, a partner with Goldman Sachs on the program, in a statement. So let's hypothetically say they're doing this on the strength of black families. Why are they immediately going straight to black women for this? And they just completely eliminated black men from the picture. Doesn't this remind you of how the Democrats always say black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party, or how society says black women are the backbone of the black community? But as black men, we should definitely be insulted because we don't get mentioned anywhere. But like I said, all I have to say is to the black women out there, do not get excited about this. This is nothing to get excited over. Jordan Black says Jay Lethal gives a good analogy about this whole thing. This is when the serpent comes to the black woman who is Eve with the apple. Interesting. But see, the thing is, they know how to go to the women because they know as women they're very emotional. So they know how to get them. Whereas the man is more logical. And see, the thing is, they know if they give this money to the men, that means that gives us a leg up to compete with them. And when I compete with them, I'm not talking about competing with the women. I'm talking about competing with PC men. And they don't want that. They already know where that money is going to land, but after they put it in the hands of the women, they already know. That's why they're rushing to put that money there. Now you got to think to yourself. Now, they were quick to approve something like this just for black women, but when it comes to reparations, there's always a study done. I have a question, Goldman Sachs. Why didn't you do a study on black women before you decided to pledge this $10 billion over the course of 10 years for this project? Where was the study for that? Aren't black women black? Well, not according to them hens over at Fox Soul, Vivica Fox and Selena Johnson and Lisa Ray and Claudia Jordan. According to those hens and those like them, black women aren't black. They're just black. They're just women who happen to be black. You got to read between the lines. See, I'm asking all the right questions. I'm asking the questions that need to be asked. That some people will just jump out of the window and go head first, like nosedive into like an ocean that has shallow water with jagged rocks right there waiting for them to impact as soon as they collide. But yeah, I don't agree with this. And it has to be the women who speaks up about this more so than anything. Because if it's just from the men talking about it, then they're going to assume that we're jealous. I've already seen the comments. We're not jealous. We're thinking something that those who say we're jealous are not doing. But the ones who say that are incapable of doing such. So there's that. So let me move on to the next story, and that is this Sharon Karen Osbourne drama just continues to spill over. So, a couple of days ago, y'all know I did a video talking about Sharon Osbourne and Cheryl Underwood and that whole thing that went down over at the talk. But then some more stuff came out this week. One of the first things I heard about was they had to temporarily, as far as I know, shut down the show due to the investigation. See, Sharon Osbourne, she did this to herself. She put herself in this position. So they had to temporarily shut down the show. That messes up everyone else's money because of her. Another thing that came out was the stuff that Sharon Osbourne, quote unquote, allegedly said about other people such as Holly Robinson Pete, Sarah Gilbert, and Julie Chen. She, according to Holly Robinson Pete, she called her ghetto. They also said that she called Julie Chen slanty-eyed, and that she called Sarah Gilbert, who was another white woman, because Sarah Gilbert was a part of the Academy Hall L. She called her a pea licker. This woman is tacky to the core. But now I came across this article right here that went out today. It says, ready to walk. The talk staffer certain Sharon Osbourne will not return to the show as she negotiates exit with network execs. See, like I said, she put herself in this position. If this is true that she's not coming back to the talk, she put herself in this position to have all this scrutiny come her way. That's why the show is getting an investigation now because of her. She's probably even more mad at Cheryl Underwood, and why? She gonna hold that over her head. She gonna be like that nigger bitch, because you know she talks like that. That nigger bitch got me fired. I'll show her. I swear that bitch sounds like something out of Harry Potter. And when I say something out of Harry Potter, I mean just that, like something that got boiled in a cauldron and conjured up. That's what she looks like and sounds like. Sharon, age 68, fought with her co-host Cheryl Underwood, age 57, while defending her friend Piers Morgan over his harsh criticism of Meghan Markle on last Wednesday's episode, as the original cast member claimed she was blindsided by the segment. A source exclusively told The Sun Sharon is not expected to return. The insider claimed the lawyers seem to be battling out regarding money, letting her spin it, non-disparagement, and more. It's all happening at the highest levels of the network. Let's be real here. She's not returning because she don't want to face them slings and arrows. She knows she got her ass handed to her on social media. Reps for Sharon and CBS. See, that's why a lot of these racist people like her probably missed the pre social media days, because before social media, they had a little bit of a leeway to get away with saying stuff like this because they couldn't get attacked so instantly. At one time, if they were to get attacked, it had to be a slow lead in, or you had to hear about it on the news, or you had to read a newspaper. Before then, you didn't, or like go on a certain website to look it up on the internet. But now that we have social media, news travels so fast. And then some set themselves up for failure, like Sharon Osbourne. But I'm glad she's finally getting her comeuppance, because it's been far too long and long overdue. The talk, which features Sharon, Cheryl, Carrie, and Anaba, Elaine Welterworth, and Amanda Klutz, is now under internal review, with the network issuing a statement that they are committed to a diverse, inclusive, and respectful workplace. How many times have we seen that? This line right here, it seems to be in every kind of workspace possible. The show canceled all episodes this week. Sharon opened last Wednesday's episode defending her decision to stand by her friend Piers, who quit Good Morning Britain after co-host Alex Beresford slammed him for his scrutiny of Prince Harry's wife. I thought that was so funny. Did y'all see that? That black weatherman outed Piers Morgan right there of the reason why he had an issue with Meghan Markle, his simp ass. He got up and walked off. I thought that was funny, not only with him walking off, but how he walked off. I said, oh, he mad. He probably wish he could have tried to find his co-worker's car so he could slash his tires. Sharon told her co-host, why is it that? Because I supported a longtime friend and work. Hold on, I got to read it like her. Why is it that? Because I supported a longtime friend and work colleague for years. People go, well, you must be racist because he's racist. Because you know that's how she talks. I swear she is the Euro trash of Britain. Her husband, and her family. Someone told me that her family reminds them of the Addams family. I said, oh, that is so potent. That is so true. She would be Morticia Addams. Her husband, Ozzy Osbourne, would be Gomez Addams. Kelly Osbourne would be Wednesday Addams. And their son, Jack Osbourne, would be Pugsley Addams. All they need is the grandmother, Fester, and Lurch, and Thing. Let's continue. She said, no, I support his freedom of speech. I'm not racist, and neither is Piers racist. What have I ever said about anybody that's racist? It's not within me. It's not in my soul. Every time she talks like that, I swear she's about to cry. Cheryl disagreed with Sharon's comments as she claimed Piers showed racial implications with the way he spoke about Meghan the last time he appeared on their talk show. Cheryl continued to explain it's not the exact words of racism, it's the implication in the reaction to it. To not want to address that because she is a black woman and trying to dismiss it, and that's what makes it racist. But right now, I'm talking to a woman that is my friend. Again, Cheryl, she is not your friend. Let's see here. Okay, I'm looking in the chat. Y'all was like, how dare I compare that family to the Addams family? Look, I'm not like, I'm just, that's what someone said to me. We know that the Addams family, fiction or not, well, we know that they're fiction, is a way better family. I would actually go chill with the Addams family if they was a real family. I'm gonna be honest. I would not go chill with the damn Osbournes, especially since I know that her husband bit the head off of a bat. Have we seen anybody in the Addams family biting the heads off of bats? An emotional Sharon then rolled her eyes before saying, I think it's too late. I think that seed's already sown. On Thursday's episode, Sharon and Cheryl did not issue any apologies. Why did Cheryl have to issue an apology? Like, she didn't come at Sharon's neck. So Cheryl Underwood, and I told y'all that they would be trying to figure out a way to make it seem like Cheryl had to be the one to apologize. But they said she didn't issue apologies, which is a good thing because she had nothing to apologize for. A source told The Sun both sides refused to apologize, though Sharon did issue an apology on her Instagram page. If you want to call that an apology. In an interview with the Daily Mail, Sharon claimed they set me up. The producers never told me. If they said to me, listen, the execs here aren't happy with what's gone on with you and Piers. We've got to try to sort this situation out. The girls are going to ask you these questions, blah, blah. Bring me in on it. Don't blindside me. If they said these execs aren't happy, I'd have worked on it with them. But give me a chance. Don't bloody surprise attack me on national TV live for 20 minutes when it was meant to be 4 other segments. I'm telling you, she went into straight Karen mode. If y'all want to hear a British Karen, look at Sharon Osbourne. Sharon added that while she hasn't been fired yet, she is sure it'll happen, and we are all praying for it. She told the publication that she hopes the CBS investigation will determine who gave the order to blindside her. Nobody blindsided you. Now she's trying to make it seem like Cheryl Underwood, the execs, and the women on that panel all came together before the show started to attack her. That did not happen. It was just a casual conversation. And because you were losing the argument, now you want to claim you were being attacked. This is typical palm-colored behavior, mainly on the woman's part. The insider said some execs want Sharon gone. Some higher execs have argued that the show cannot live without Sharon since she is the only known star. And to be honest, I would not be surprised if some of the execs have been wanting her gone way before this, but they needed a reason to try to get rid of her. The Sun also reported producers are furious Sharon has made them the target. See, she keeps burying herself in her own bag. The insider previously told The Sun the staff is so angry that their livelihoods have been taken away from them and their jobs are in jeopardy. And see, that's another thing. And I said that at the beginning. I said, by them having to take a week off, that's a whole week's worth of pay they just lost. And some of them made very good money. And you got to think these people have families. They don't live a life like Sharon Osbourne. Sharon Osbourne can survive without this show. They probably cannot. This might be one of their only forms of income. And this tacky bitch had to go on her little rant and ruin everything for everybody. I think that's what makes this whole situation even more worse, is that even when she was wrong, she still comes out on top because everyone else is beneath her and they're losing and she's still winning. They said the talk can't come back from this. Since the segment aired, former co-hosts Leah Remini and Holly Robinson Pete have come forward with racist allegations against Sharon. Leah, who appeared on season 1, spoke to journalist Yashar Ali with claims that Sharon has a history of racist language. Leah, age 50, claims Sharon said, "I mean, who the F does slanty eyes think she is?" Oh, this is what she said. "I mean, who the F does slanty eyes think she is? She shouldn't be pillow talking with our boss." And at that point, she was talking about Julie Chen. She allegedly said of Sarah Gilbert, according to Leah, "Why won't the pussy licker do anything about the wonton?" And that, again, she's talking about Julie Chen. "Why won't the fish eater be part of the discussion? She's the effing executive producer." Former co-host Holly also came forward and claimed Ozzy Osbourne's wife called her too ghetto and had her fired from the talk. Sharon has denied the claims by her former co-host, calling the allegations against her crap. No, the only thing that looks crap is you in this picture right now. Anyone ever seen that movie, The Craft? Doesn't she look like the main witch at that age? She does. If you give her the black hair, make her even more pale, make her wear all, well, she has on all black right there, give her a broomstick. Well, they didn't wear brooms in that movie, but y'all know what I mean. Put some snakes and roaches and stuff around her and the rats. She looks just like her. And by the way, The Craft is a good movie, by the way. It is. To those of you saying that it is. It is. I'm glad y'all enjoyed the accent. You know, I try to entertain a little bit, even though this shit is ridiculous. But I'm glad that Sharon Osbourne is getting all this literal shit thrown at her. It's about time. I hope Harvey does a video talking about this too, because he's been going in on Sharon Osbourne for years. That, and I want to hear him sing his "I Told You So" song too, so that always helps. But I'm glad Sharon Osbourne is getting all this stuff happening to her. She is not a victim. She don't need to be crying. She don't need to be whining. She don't need to be complaining. She don't need to be bitching and moaning, even though that's what she's doing, and it's not even worth that. But anyway, let me move on to yet another story. And I'm glad y'all are all still here. And if you have not pressed that like button, make sure y'all go ahead and do so already. And let's continue. So I had to talk about this. I didn't want to touch on it because I could have easily did this. I almost did this as a pre-recorded video. But I said, no, I want to do this because I want the input in real time from my subscribers. I don't have to ask y'all if you heard about this whole thing with Kirk Franklin's son and that phone call that got exposed in that video. That call was very hard to listen to. That was very hard to hear. Now, a lot of people are actually against the son. So basically, the son who was 30, I think he's 33. So he's about 2, maybe 1. Well, I don't know exactly when in that year he was born, but let's just say he's 2 years older than me. Had a phone call with his dad, who of course is Kirk Franklin. And in that call, he basically is talking about some personal family issues. Number one, I truly believe that phone call should have been in-house. Like, why would you put that out there? If you and your dad have an issue going on, why would you put that out there for the world to listen to? This actually did more damage towards the son than it did good, because he probably thought in the back of his mind that many people were going to be on his side. And he found out that day that was not the case. It was a lot of people who were very upset and very pissed that Kirk Franklin's son put his dad in personal family business on blast like that. And we heard Kirk Franklin go the fuck off. I have never heard Kirk Franklin go and snap like that before. I mean, he was dropping all kinds of N bombs, F bombs. He raised his voice, like he literally invoked every song he did in his career into his son that day. He said, hold on. He's like, God, hold on right quick. I'm going to put you on hold right quick. I got to call Satan right now and raise a little bit of hell. Because I don't know who my son think he talking to. I don't know who he think he is. I never heard him snap like that. But this just shows you that even people who are even like really into the church or Christianity and stuff like that, they have their moments where they have to go off. And I feel like his son is giving this thing, not I don't want to call it a thing, of wanting attention. Because his son had no problem telling the people also in that video that how old he was turning that year. Like what does you mentioning you turning a certain age this year have to do with the situation at hand? Right, Vulcan. He said that you said the son seemed like he was clout chasing. He did. I feel like he definitely was. But I can tell that there's a huge fractured relationship between him and his son. Because I think that his son is his oldest. I think that's his oldest child. And then he has a son and I think 2 daughters, maybe 3. But I think he only has one son. And that's the oldest son, and that's the one that was in the video who put Kirk Franklin on blast. Like he really should have thought about that before he put that out there. But I'm gonna go ahead and read this article and see what they're talking about. It's a short article. It says, it looks like Kirk Franklin has some more issues. His son, who is now kind of famous, seems to be suggesting that Mr. Franklin abused him. I'm not sure, but this is sort of what the rumors are starting to circulate. And when I say rumors, I mean some of these gossip magazines. No, it just seems like there's a lot of smoke here. And when I mean smoke, I mean accusations, serious accusations. Are they valid? Who knows? But I've never gotten any type of molester vibes from Kirk Franklin. The internet sleuths have looked into some audio that was released that Kirk Franklin's son apparently said. I do not know what Kirk Franklin's seed sounds like, so I have no ability to verify or validate the audio. I'm not here to defend anyone that is molesting children. I hope they heal because in the audio, like he keeps saying that he was abused. They keep saying that he was abused and everything like that. And like I said, they had a very fractured relationship because I think I read somewhere else that Kirk Franklin was not in his son's life for a numerous amount of years. So I don't know if this is his way of trying to reach out to his dad and saying like, look, I'm here. I'm trying to build a relationship with you. Like, will you at least have a conversation with me? If that's the case, doing this was not exactly the right way to go about it. Like there could have been so many other ways that he could have gone about that. Like that's very unfortunate. And now that he's put himself out there in this light, and it's a bad light at that, he's getting clowned all over social media because he thought he was doing something noble. He probably thought he was going to come out on the other side of this looking like the good guy and his dad being the bad guy. But right now it seems it's like his plan backfired. Now, the only thing that we ever heard about Kirk Franklin scandalous wise is that he had a porn addiction. But who doesn't know that? We all heard about Kirk Franklin and his porn addiction. That's about as scandalous as it got for him. Like if they ever do a movie about Kirk Franklin, which they probably will now, they definitely going to include this, and they definitely going to talk about his porn addiction. But other than that, we never really heard anything else. But yeah, his Like they need like some kind of an intervention. I don't know if Ayanna is still fixing people's lives, but maybe they can start there. But I think she says she's left that network, and if she has, good for her. For those of y'all who didn't know Kirk Franklin had an important addiction, where have y'all been? I learned about that back when I was a kid. I learned about that when I was young. When I was young, I can't remember when I found out, but I was like, oh. They said that they used to find, like, he used to have stashes of DVDs stashed around the house. All over, he had secret stashes and everything. But hopefully they can get through this, because this is not good. And I do not agree with putting family business out there for the world to see, because now that ruins the reputation of Kirk Franklin. Luckily, Kirk Franklin has a solid fan base that dates back a couple of decades, and that they see his son as nothing more as an attention seeker. But let me move on to the next story. How many of y'all heard about this? I forgot who sent me this story. It said the Academy decry Vatican same-sex unions ruling. The Pope isn't your county clerk. So basically, if y'all have not heard, the Vatican has decided that while they will welcome people who are a part of the Academy into their place of worship, they will not welcome them to be married by them. And I believe that's a bit hypocritical, considering we know what goes on in that Vatican, or at least with the Catholic priests. I mean, do I have to spell it out for you? I think we already know. So let's get into this. Members of the Academy have expressed their anger and disappointment following a ruling from the Vatican that the Roman Catholic Church cannot bless same-sex marriages. The Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith, the church body responsible for matters of doctrine and orthodoxy, issued the statement on Monday in response to a question about whether Roman Catholic clergy can bless Academy unions. Many social media users took to Twitter to criticize the decision, with some prominent members of the Academy stressing their solidarity with the Catholics who are also a part of the Academy. Love is love, tweeted Chasten Buttplug, who is married to Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. Gay marriage is legal. The Pope isn't your county clerk. Register for the fancy sheets and wine glasses. Peace and blessings. Chasten Buttigieg was raised in a conservative Catholic family and is now a writer and advocate for the Academy rights. Singer-songwriter Elton John called out what he suggested was the Vatican's hypocritical position of the alphabet people. He pointed to a Daily Beast article from 2019 reporting that the Vatican spent millions investing his biopic Rocket Man. How can the Vatican refuse to bless gay marriages because they are sin, yet happily make a profit from investing millions in Rocket Man, a film which celebrates my finding happiness from my marriage to David? Hashtag hypocrisy. John has been in a relationship with the Canadian filmmaker David Furnish since 1993 and entered a civil partnership in 2005. After same-sex marriage became legal in England and Wales in 2014, they converted their civil union into a marriage. The Vatican statement said that God does not and cannot bless sin. He blesses sinful man so that he may recognize that he is part of his plan of love and allow himself to be changed by him. While CDF acknowledged that the Academy unions can contain positive elements, it said those elements exist within the context of a union not ordered by the Creator's plan. Though much of the criticism was aimed at the Pope, he did not make the determination himself. However, as head of the church, he exercises significant power over matters of the doctrine. Some critics also pointed to the history of child sexual abuse in the church. There it is. I knew it was going to come. I knew it was going to happen. Really, that right, like I said, that's why I said this decision of them to do that is very hypocritical. But at the end of the day, I don't run the Catholic Church or the Vatican, so it's not like it's my decision. My marriage doesn't need or want the Vatican's blessing, but I know today's decree is one more painful aggression against the Academy Catholics who do care. Tweeted best-selling writer and Professor Roxane Gay. We are supposed to be impressed by a pope who vaguely acknowledges our humanity, but he is the head of the church. They are one. He doesn't believe in our right to live and love freely. He is only progressive in relation to previous popes who were archaic. Today's decree is bullshit. Also, the sex abuse scandal. It's a corrupt and cruel institution, she said. Not a choice, not a sin, not the truth at Pontifex, wrote screenwriter, Academy rights activist Dustin Lance Black. Aim your ire at your own priest's choices and sins. Their rape and abuse of children in their care before you throw one more stone at loving, supportive queer couples and our families. This is shameful, dangerous, and embarrassing for them. Tweeted Canadian actor Dan Levy, not to mention the hypocrisy. Now, I have to say one thing before I go here. Yes, it's good they called out the hypocrisy, but I would like to know this. Would they have called this out if the Vatican actually agreed to let them get married in their church? That's just one thing I gotta ask. Like I said, I'm glad that they called out the hypocrisy because I called it out too. But would they have said that? Would they have echoed those same sentiments if the Vatican had allowed them to get married? Joe said no. Vulcan said no. B1C University said nope. So I think we all are on the same page. So now the hypocrisy pendulum is swinging both ways. And that's the end of the article. Like I said, it is hypocrisy, but after reading this, I can see now that there is hypocrisy on both sides. It's hypocrisy from the Vatican to say that they don't agree to marry same-sex couples because of what goes on as far as child abuse in that church. But it's also hypocrisy coming from the Academy because I believe they wouldn't have mentioned that if the Vatican allowed them to get married in the church or in their church. And like Buttercup's husband said, he said he isn't your county clerk. So they don't have to they don't have to abide by or bounded by any law to say that they'll do it. So I have one more story left to discuss. Does anyone care to guess what it's going to be about? I always like to do this for the last story, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. We are on the last story. Put in the chat, what do you think I'm about to talk about? Okay, everybody's on the same page. Y'all said Robert Long, the Asian massacre, the spa shooting. Caressa, you're late. I already talked about Kirk Franklin. You like 2 stories behind. Yes, we are about to talk about this inbred, incel looking fool right here on your screen. I cannot believe that this guy is 21. Can y'all believe it? He looks older than me, and I'm older than him. I got like a whole decade on him. So this has been the biggest story to come out this week. You know, I always like to leave the big stories for the end. This has been the biggest story to come out this week. There's like nowhere you can go and you have not heard about this story. So this is Robert Aaron Long. He is the sole suspect involved with multiple shootings at multiple Asian spas, massage parlors, and we're gonna put that in quotations because I said if they really want to do an investigation, y'all need to find out what were those spas really used for, because I highly doubt they were just used for spas. I have a feeling that they were a front and a cover for something else. How many times have I talked about massage parlors on my channel with these Asians? And that's one thing they don't want to talk about is the human trafficking that goes on in the Asian community via these quote unquote massage parlors. So I went on to heavy.com and it says 5 facts you need to know about Robert Long. It says Robert Aaron Long was identified as the suspect accused of shooting 5 people at a spa in Woodstock, Cherokee, County, Georgia, and Atlanta officials said it is extremely likely he opened fire at 2 more spas about an hour later. The 3 shootings left 8 people dead and another injured. 6 of the victims were Asian, prompting investigators to question whether Long was fueled by racism. Now, it says 6 of the victims were Asian, 8 of them died. What were the ethnicities of the other 2? They leave that out. So there were 8 victims, 6 of them were Asian, but they don't mention the ethnicity of the other 2. How much you want to bet the other 2 are probably palm colored, going to get their their happy ending. Vulcan said Robert Kraft knows the Asian spa as well. Oh, he most definitely does. He told police his motive was based on a sex addiction, said in a conference. 6 of the 8 victims have been identified. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution identified the 4 deceased as Delana Ashley Yan, Zhao Ji Yan, Dao Yu Feng, and Paul Andre Michels. The 5th victim, who was taken to the hospital, was a 30-year-old Hispanic man, Elcius Hernandez Ortiz. So we have a brown person who was there. Deputies allege Long entered Young's Asian massage parlor along Georgia Highway 92 and opened fire at about 5 p.m., shooting 5 people and killing 4 of them in Woodstock, an Atlanta suburb near Ackworth. Officials allege he then drove to a nearby Atlanta and opened fire at 2 additional Asian spas, Gold Spa and Aromatherapy Spa, killing 4 more people. He was then taken into custody in Crisp County, nearly 200 miles away. Deputies named the 21-year-old alleged, because that is a extraterrestrial looking 21. Woodstock man as the suspect at about 8 p.m. Minutes later, they announced he had been arrested. The FBI is also involved with the investigation. A woman called 911 from Gold Spa and told a dispatcher she had to speak quietly because she was hiding from the gunman. Please come okay, she said just above a whisper. Surveillance footage showed the suspect fleeing the scene of Young's Asian massage parlor. The images helped officials identify him as a likely suspect in the Atlanta shootings and spotted his vehicles in Crisp County. License plate readers also indicated Long's vehicle was near the crime scene at the time of the 2nd and 3rd shootings. Long has been described as a zealously religious person who claimed he targeted Asian women to eliminate temptation. So apparently, looking at that, eliminating temptation says to me that he had an addiction to Asian women. And let me also remind you, because I don't know if this article is going to mention, but if they do, I jumped ahead. Did y'all know that he actually had planned to go to Florida like that same day after doing this to go shoot more Asians at whatever massage parlor he could find in Florida? So he was on a mission. His initial plan was to kill himself. Then he decided to, quote unquote, help others with sex addiction by targeting massage parlors, he told law enforcement, according to CNN. Like, this is a whole incel right here. I mean, of the Elliot Rodger type. I wonder if he was on the Elliot Rodger fan page. Officials said there was no evidence of illegal activity at the targeted massage parlors. Basically, they're saying that there was no indication of human trafficking there. Okay, if you say so. Long has spent time in rehab for sex addiction in 2019 and 2020. The night before the shootings, his parents kicked him out of the house, the news outlet reported. Here's what you need to know. Oh my God, that guy looks rough. Long was heavily involved in his church, and he claimed his motive was to eliminate temptation. While authorities emphasized they had no indication the massage parlors Long targeted were involved in any sort of legal activities or that Long had even visited those specific locations, the suspect claimed his goal was to eliminate temptation. Long claimed to have a sex addiction, investigators said during a Wednesday morning press conference. He sees these locations as a temptation for him that he wanted to eliminate. Cherokee County Sheriff's Office and Captain Jay Baker said, and I have something to say about him too in the next article. Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bonham said they had no previous complaints of criminal activity at the massage parlors. The only 911 call the Atlanta Police Department ever received involving either of the spas was a report of stolen keys. As far as we know, in Atlanta, they are legally operating businesses that have not been on our radar, not on the radar of the Atlanta Police Department. Long was on his way to south to Florida. Okay, so they did mention it. To target establishments he believed were involved in the porn industry. Baker said officials asked Long directly if he had racist motives, and Long denied this. But I find that hard to believe because he specifically targeted Asians, and he said that. And the thing is, they probably just gonna run with it because they need the narrative to be that the people targeting Asians are black people. However, the investigation continues to determine an official motive in the case. Officials said, emphasizing they are very early in investigation. Long took responsibility for the shooting. Baker was criticized for his comments for a 2020 Facebook post that included t-shirts saying COVID-19 was imported from China, and he spelled it CHYNA. And that's going to be in the next article. Long was described as a religious person by a former classmate at Sequoia High School. The 21-year-old graduated in 2017. The classmate said Long's dad was a pastor and Long had seemed innocent and nerdy. Those are the ones you got to look out for. He was very innocent seeming and wouldn't even cuss, the classmate told the Daily Beast. He was sort of nerdy and didn't seem violent from what I remember. He was a hunter and his dad was a youth minister or pastor. He was big into religion. You got to watch out for them religious kooks, them Bible thumpers. Those be some of the worst ones. Another classmate, Nico Strawn, age 21, described a similar impression of Long in an interview with the Associated Press. He said he thought Long was super nice, super Christian, and very quiet. He brought a Bible to school every day and walked down the hallway with it in his hands. Yeah, that would seem very strange to me. That seems very strange to me. He went from one of the nicest kids I ever knew in high school to being on the news yesterday. Social media posts from the Crabapple First Baptist Church show Long and his family have a lengthy history with the church. Long's father is now listed as a pastor at the church. The elders of the church released a statement to Heavy saying they are grieved and heartbroken. We are grieved to hear the tragic news about the multiple deaths in the Atlanta area. We are heartbroken for all involved. We grieve for the victims and their families, and we continue to pray for them. Moreover, we are distraught for the Long family and continue to pray for them as well. The church later deleted its website and Facebook page. Posts indicated Long attended the church with his mom, dad, and younger sister. His mom organized events at the church like a movie night with a cotton candy machine. They issued a strongly worded statement Friday morning, March 15th, separating themselves from Long's statements regarding eliminating temptation and his targeting of Asian women. They also rebooted portion of their website. The church said they deleted their website and Facebook pages for safety purposes. They further acknowledged the harm the attack caused the Asian community as a whole. The church also noted Long's father did not work for the church. I'm not going to read that. Let's see if I can get to another part because this part is really, really lengthy. Sheesh. That's just part one. My goodness, what's the other? Okay. Number 2, law enforcement officials set up a perimeter on I-75 after Long was spotted headed towards Cripps County 200 miles south, and he said he was headed to Florida to commit more shootings. Let's see. Notice they said shooting suspect in custody, not shooting suspect dead. Let's see what else we got here. Long was treated for sex addiction and said he initially considered suicide, then decided to quote unquote help others with sex addiction by targeting spas. So his grand scheme plan was to help Kirk to help cure people of their sex addiction, was to go to various massage spas and kill all the women in there. This is incel behavior, and I have yet to see them actually talk about or mention that word. This is top tier incel behavior. You got all these men out here going out there and doing whatever it is that they do, and you ruining their fun because you have a sex addiction. So you got to ruin sex for everybody else. Like, I don't know how this, this makes no sense to me. Let's see what else they said here. I'll admit, I thought when the sheriff had said he had a sex, like it was came from sex addiction, that was a bunch of bullshit, and it is. But this dude actually really did have a sex addiction. But the actually do what he did made no sense. None. Number 4, Long lived with his parents until the night before the shooting, when he was kicked out due to his sex addiction. See, they keep going back to the sex addiction. They can lean on but they're going to lean on that sex addiction part so much that that's all they talk about. But the fact of the matter is, this guy targeted Asians. And the thing is, a lot of spas, not every spa is ran by Asians. Notice he didn't go to a spa that was ran by white people. He specifically went to spas that were ran by Asians. And he knew which ones to go to. That's why I think, I'm assuming at this point, that he targeted these places. This was, in my opinion, no random attack. I truly believe that he actually had this planned. Let's see what that 5th one's talking about, because I'm not reading all of this. Number 5, Long brought the gun used in the shooting just hours before he allegedly opened fire at the 3 spas. Yeah, I think this was all premeditated. Honestly, this was not just something he just out the blue decided to just do. He planned this, and I think when he got kicked out of his parents' house, that's what fueled him to go even harder. But let me go to this, and I swear this is going to be the last one. I wanted to talk about the sheriff right here with his Mr. Clean looking self. The sheriff's deputy who said the Atlanta area shooting suspect had a really bad day. And I swear that line right there, literally, like, I just shook my head every time they brought up the story. He had a bad day, y'all. He had a sex addiction and a bad day. He said he's been replaced as spokesman on the case. Let's see why he got replaced, even though I think many of us know why. The sheriff's deputy who said the suspect in the Atlanta area shootings had a really bad day had been replaced as spokesman on the case. And I think what came out about him, plus him saying that, is what got him replaced, because people was mad that he even said that. On Thursday, Erica Neldner, the communications director for Cherokee County, said in a statement that she would be taking over all media matters related to the shootings. Neldner replaced Captain Jay Baker, who was widely criticized for comments he made about the suspect. So I guess if we all have bad days, we're supposed to go out and do what he did. See, here's the thing. If you say someone has a bad day and they do something like that, that should be a blanket statement that applies to everybody, but it can't. Because they don't want, because this right here it's starting to ramp up even more to the point where it can't even be almost classified as an isolated incident anymore. Because now it's starting to occur more frequently. A bad day. Georgia prosecutors on Wednesday charged Robert Aaron Long, age 21, with 8 counts of murder over the shootings at 3 Atlanta area spas on Tuesday. Baker said Long had been pretty much fed up and kind of at the end of his rope on the day of the killings, comments that critics saw as victim blaming. It is, because they're basically trying to turn the perpetrator into the villain into the victim. Oh, he had a bad day. He's fed up with life. He's at the end of his rope. He had no other choice but to go and kill all these innocent people. He has a sex addiction. Give me a break. 6 of the victims were Asian women, and the killings came with attacks on Asian Americans already on the rise. Baker attracted further scrutiny after it emerged Wednesday that he had shared a racist image on his Facebook page in April. Baker shared an image of a t-shirt with the Corona beer logo that said COVID-19 imported virus from China. In the caption, Baker wrote, "I love my shirt, get yours while they last." So that shows you right there why people are, when he said that and they pulled that up, they said, yeah, we got to get him off because he's showing a bias. He's not really on our side. And by ours, they're talking about the Asian community. He's not on our side. Cherokee County Sheriff Frank Reynolds said in a Thursday statement carried by ABC that Baker had inadvertently caused anger and heartache. In as much as his words were taken or construed as insensitive or inappropriate, they were not intended to disrespect any of the victims, the gravity of this tragedy, or express empathy or sympathy for the suspect. But it was. You said he had a bad day. You said he was at the end of his rope. That's giving sympathy to someone who just murdered 8 people because of his quote unquote sex addiction. I swear the amount of excuses that they have thrown at this guy's way is absolutely ridiculous, but not surprising. Nelner's statement gave no details about Baker's future, but as of Friday morning, he was still listed on the sheriff's office website as Director of Communications and Community Relations. Baker did not immediately respond to a request for comment from an insider. Deputies have said Long, who is in custody, admitted to carrying out the shootings. He has yet to enter a plea to the charges. He was due in court Thursday, but waived his right to a hearing. How much you want to bet they're going to say plead guilty and we'll see if we can work a plea deal? I'm telling you, it's coming. That plea deal is coming. Under state law, Long could face the death penalty, and we're all banking that he does. Prosecutors are also considering adding a hate crime charge, which I could see happening. But you know what? If it was black people he went and did, they would have stretched out why this could not be a hate crime. They would have pulled out every kind of study as why this couldn't be a hate crime. They would have went into the goddamn periodic table of elements to see why it could not be a hate crime. But because the attacks on Asians is at an all-time high right now, they're going to make sure that he possibly gets that hate crime charge to appease them. Long apparently told investigators the attack was not racially motivated, saying he had a sex addiction and viewed the spas, in Baker's words, as a temptation for him that he wanted to eliminate. But again, he only went to spas that had Asian women working there. If he went to a spa that had Asian women and then went to a spa that had white women and into another spa that had another group of women, then we could say it wasn't racially motivated. He just went there because he just wanted to kill women. But every last spa he went to were inhabited and heavily employed Asian women. So how can they not say that it isn't a hate crime? Long is being held without bond in the Cherokee County Jail. And the fact that he keeps saying that it's a temptation that he wanted to eliminate shows that this guy, and I said it earlier, has elevated Asian women to the pinnacle of beauty in his eyes. So that means that the temptation he had to eliminate was Asian women, because in his mind and in his eyes, Asian women are the standard of beauty for him. Hashtag mic drop. And that's probably the type of porn he was watching. He was probably watching Asian porn, and he probably watched that fantasy porn, where they work in spas. He probably has gone to these spas before. And maybe one time, I don't know, maybe his credit card got rejected or declined and he couldn't go. Lexi says, so far, I don't see them talking about him. They want the narrative to stay on us. Right. Oh, and while we are at it, Juju Chang, they are lighting her ass up right now as we speak. Because that chick, she had all of this stuff to say about black people attacking Asians and whatnot a couple of weeks ago, but they went in on her. That's why I said I said on my Twitter account, those of you following me on Twitter, we have to get ahead of this before they spiral this story out of control and they try to make it and put all of that onto us, because it's coming. And what happened? She comes out and she starts saying all this stuff about black people. And shout out to Town Biz, because he been going in on Juju Chang the last couple of videos, and rightfully so. Because she keeps she was putting out that propaganda that it was black people attacking Asians. I said, one incident where a black person might have gotten into an Asian person's face is not an attack on all Asians, but the big black boogeyman, with one incident, that means it's a blanket over everybody else. But then she gets very quiet when this happens. That means every single time that an Asian person is attacked, we need to go onto Juju Chang's social media and be like, Juju, did you see this? Did you hear about this? And speaking of another attack, I was going to do that as a separate video, but I'll talk about it here. Did y'all see that video where that Asian woman was attacked by that white man in California, and she took that damn stick and whacked his ass across the face? She's the one still standing, talking her shit with the stick in her hand. She still wanted to go in on, and she probably would have if the community wasn't there to hold her back or the police. And meanwhile, his ass is laid up on the stretcher with his goddamn mouth busted wide open. And that just happened. That just happened. I think that happened after this, or maybe a little bit before this. Then there was another incident that I think Seiji Hito talked about on his channel, where it was another palm-colored man attacking another Asian man. That just happened. All of this stuff happened this week, but it's not getting much attention because this story right here is the one that's more mainstream because it was more violent. Solo Dola says we need to defend ourselves. Hell yeah, we definitely do. I keep saying that. Arm yourself. If you like women, the ladies out there, if you got like some mace, carry you some mace. Hell, if you got a stick, like she did that, and that wasn't no average stick. That wasn't no switch off of a tree. She had a whole goddamn piece of wood that looks like it could have been burned during a cold winter month. And she had that shit in her hand. Like she wanted to continue going in on him while he was in a stretcher. He had this look on his face like he was scared shitless and couldn't believe he got whacked by this woman. Because in his eyes, she was supposed to be weak. He found out that day. He gonna remember every time he looks in the mirror and looks at his jaw while it's trying to heal, because they probably gonna have to wire his mouth shut. Like his mouth was fucked up. Like it was bleeding and it was swollen. So they definitely gonna have to do some reconstructive surgery to his mouth and probably wire that thing shut. Because he did get some hits on her because she was bleeding from the face, but she got the best of him at the end of the day because she was still standing and he was on the stretcher. And he looked scared out of his damn mind. Thank you, Angie. It was a 2x4. I couldn't really think of the name, but yeah, she hit him with a goddamn 2x4. Hey, if it comes to that, carry that 2x4 with you. It is what it is. But with that being said, that's going to conclude this week's stream. I'm glad that I was able to come on here and talk to y'all again for yet another week, another round of topics. If y'all haven't done so already, make sure y'all subscribe to this channel. Also, text the number that is scrolling down so y'all can get notifications every time I upload or go live. Shout out to everybody who has come through. Shout out to everybody who subscribed to the channel. We're trying to get this channel up to 2,000 subscribers. That is the new goal. Of course, I will be back on my main channel tomorrow. 3 videos a day, 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m. premiere. With that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. The days are longer now, so y'all still have daylight to go and do whatever it is that y'all feel y'all need to go and do. And with that being said, I'm going to talk to you in the next one.